On a hot day in May of 1991 in the suburbs of Greenville, South Carolina, some friends from the local high school band gathered at a backyard pool to try to cool off. 18-year-old Scott Burdett and his girlfriend Kelly Hart had been going together for almost a year.
Several guys were having a contest trying to show off just cannonballs and whatever. They could think that they were making them up. Scott was one of the bigger goofballs. We were all on the side watching them, and then Scott dove off. I didn't think anything was wrong with him at first because he's always joking around, so nobody knew he was hurt.
Help! Somebody, help!
And I go over there and I grab him by the waist, and he said his neck is hurt. And then he said, Kelly, I couldn't move. And I was scared, just real scared.
Krista, he hurt his neck!
Kelly called for Scott's sister, Krista.
I went over there to him. She was holding him up, and I kind of just put my hands on his back, and I asked him, I said, Scott, are you really hurt? Because he plays around so much. But he was like, yeah, man, I'm really hurt. He was serious.
Call for help!
Get him out of the pool!
No, leave him alone!
And somebody told me to get him out of the swimming pool. I said no. I had been in a class, and 2 EMS workers had told us to not move the victim in case of head and spinal cord injuries that could cause paralysis.
Mom, Scott hit his head on the bottom of the pool. He's hurt pretty bad.
A call to 911 was made almost immediately.
911 emergency.
Greenville County Dispatcher Carolyn Northway took the call.
All right, is the person who's injured himself, is he still in the pool? Right away, she said it is a diving accident, which led me to believe possibly paralysis. The uppermost in my mind was not to get him out of the pool until our trained personnel arrived, where we could secure his neck and get him out without further damaging him.
Rescue units from the Berea Fire Department and Greenville County EMS were dispatched to the scene.
I just started realizing that he was really hurt. And I was trying not to cry or anything. And we kept shaking. We were trying to be still, but we kept shaking.
I was crying, I was shaking, and I was scared that I was going to move him. I had to be calm because if I had moved, I could have hurt him very badly.
One of Scott's friends called his mother, Erlette Burdett.
I'm a nurse, and I know the things that happens usually when kids or people jump into a pool and hurt their neck. And so the first thing I did was say a prayer, and then just got in the car and went over there.
Off-duty paramedic Tom Kickler heard the report of the accident on the scanner and rushed over to see if he could help.
Okay, is he conscious? I took my shoes and my socks off, and I eased myself into the water to try to reduce any effect of rippleness, because any type of movement may aggravate his injury. Okay, Scott, how you doing, bud?
I'm still here.
Are you having any trouble breathing at all or anything like that?
No.
He said, well, he wasn't able to move any of his extremities, and at that point, he had some numbness in his arms and legs.
When the medic unit arrived, EMS supervisor Bill Markley took charge.
Yeah, we got a possible spinal injury. Jumped in the pool, struck his head. No loss of consciousness. He's got some tenderness in the C-spine.
The head immobilization was taken over by Tom, and then the cervical collar was applied to Scott at that time.
Scott, it's going to be a little uncomfortable, but it's going to keep your neck from moving.
Once we got everybody assembled, we had sufficient personnel in the pool to handle the situation. We rotated Scott onto his back, being very careful to keep his head in alignment with his body. And then we floated the backboard under him and secured him in a reeve sleeve, which completely mobilizes the body from head to toe.
Scott's mother arrived just as the paramedics were ready to remove him from the pool.
I just went over to him and told him that I was there. As I looked at him, I could see fear in his eyes, but he was very quiet. He didn't try to speak or anything.
First. 1, 2, 3.
It was hurting to see my brother being taken away. It was like I kept trying not to cry before, but then when we got on the deck, I don't know, I guess it just all started coming out.
We had a friend whose brother-in-law had had a motorbike accident, and he was paralyzed from it. Several months ago, Scott and I were talking, and he asked me, he says, Mom, if anything like that ever happens to me, he says, I want you to pull the plug, and that kind of means, you know, I don't want to live that way.
I was thinking that he wasn't going to get to do the stuff that he wanted to do, go to college, get to do what he planned on doing, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen between us.
Scott was transported to Greenville Memorial Hospital, where he was examined by neurosurgeon O.M. Ballinger.
The x-rays showed that he had a broken neck. If he were allowed to bend his head forward about another quarter of an inch at the scene, he probably would have been permanently paralyzed.
Kelly deserves a lot of credit. She resisted the attempts and the pleas of other teenagers at the scene to remove him from the pool. And had Kelly done so, the outcome would have been tragically different, I'm sure.
6 months after undergoing surgery to repair his broken neck, Scott Burdett has made an amazing recovery.
I really love Kelly a lot, and I really do appreciate it. She's saving my life. And, I mean, there's not really words that you can say for stuff like that.
He's always treated me nice, but I think he seems sweeter, I guess you'd say, to me. I was going to stay with him even if he was paralyzed, and I think that's what was going through his mind, too. That he was scared that he was going to lose me also, but I was going to stick to him no matter what happened.
I feel closer to Kelly than anybody he's ever dated, just because I know that she cares about him, and I trust her more than I do anybody else.
Kelly is grateful that she had a chance to learn first aid techniques.
I think the lesson is that, you know, pay attention to anything, because I had no idea when I was sitting there listening to them, I had no idea that I was going to be using the procedures that I had learned.
I think that some teenagers at some time or another do learn the lesson of their own mortality.
It made me realize that life can be taken away from you in a snap. I think it's made me grow up a little bit more. I think it made really the whole group grow up a little bit more.
Next.
I realized that the call was a little bit more severe than what I thought it was, because something was really panicking.